So number
26.
woo!
Hey guys, welcome to episode number 26, Newbie Real Estate Investors Podcast. I am Joey Chan, and we've got my man Joe Fala here,
Hey
and
everybody.
my lady Vlada. Well, not my lady, but
Is the wife
But,
watching?
Yeah, it's right.
no, she doesn't watch. She
This is the
doesn't
one
watch.
episode she watches.
Unfortunately, my wife doesn't watch. So
This will be the one she watches. The one.
Yeah.
Definitely gonna be
right,
the
right.
one she watches.
yeah. So, my buddy. Let's say that.
I mean, you said my man Joe too, and he's like
Right,
divorced, date, and marry or
Yeah,
anything, so.
yeah. That kind of threw me off right there, right?
It was a subjected words.
Yeah. So we've got Jonathan and Carmelo. They are down at Triple Play in Atlantic City.
Partying.
So yeah, partying down there. I think Jonathan's collecting rent, or he's trying to get he's trying to get tenants to pay rent. That's what we've been doing this morning. And then for me, or for us, we've got a closing later at 4:30 today.
Oh, amazing.
Congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Well, it's a refinance, so it's not really a closing.
Gotcha.
So we're basically going into another loan. We've got a hard money loan that we've been in for about 2 years. So from there, we went into another hard money loan because, it's been taking us a while just to get through the deal. So initially we were, so
I've already
this is a
got some
deal.
questions.
Yeah. So this is a deal in Atlantic City, and we originally purchased it. It was kind of full. So we didn't think we were going to renovate as many units, right? And then slowly, month after month, one tenant drops off in terms of paying.
Oh.
So we come in, we have like 9 tenants. Right away, the seller, we actually supposed to buy it with 8. And then as soon as we close, so we close on a Friday, the tenant moves in on Saturday. The scumbag previous seller, he throws a tenant in. He takes the deposit, takes the first
Without
month rent.
telling you?
Without
Oh,
telling us.
shoot.
Without telling
Oh, wow.
us. Yeah.
So this
yeah.
went through title, and they didn't like send you like any of this. You
Nothing.
just took it.
Nothing. This
That
guy.
you were like
This guy.
forced inherited,
Yeah. Yep.
sneakily inherited a tenant.
Yes. And so we kind of said, okay, we're gonna eat it.
Was it at or below what you expected to get for that unit? The rent.
It was about at.
Okay.
It was at.
All right, that's
But the tenant stopped paying.
Yeah, but
You're right.
but the thing is, the tenant never paid the second month. Had no choice but try to evict. And actually, he ended up just leaving. So we
2 years later.
no, not 2 years later.
Oh.
Like the next month.
Oh, okay.
So he actually just moved out without us really doing too much.
Okay.
So we didn't have to put a lot of effort into that one. And then we had a bunch of other ones that we had to put a lot of effort into. Then the let me see, which one do I want to start with first? So there's so many like crazy bad tenants in there. And
That
just
one
one
single
unit.
property.
that
one
one property,
in Atlantic City, right?
Yeah. Oh man, that thing has been a total nightmare. But we're slowly we're getting it back up to speed.
Okay.
So initially we were thinking of evicting 2 tenants anyway, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then we thought we were going to have 3 units available for us to renovate. And so second month, like 2 or 3 other people stopped paying.
Wow.
Third month, another one dropped off. Fourth month, another person dropped off.
Would this be around the point Camilla would say, "This is why I only do Section 8"?
Yeah.
Oh, are these Section 8 tenants?
No. They
So
were
they're all
cash
like
paying.
cash?
Yeah, they were all
I
cash.
said it for you, Camilla.
Yeah. So that was kind of like, oh man, this is bad, right? So we kind of struggled through the year. We were kind of breaking even, initially, even though the cash flow wasn't high. We still were getting something, so we weren't like in a really bad shape because we were able to get in, renovate, and then as the year go past, so we get through the first year. Now we renovate 2-3 units. Then we turn those units because we didn't want to bring in like new tenants, long-term tenants, and kind of commingle with these really bad tenants, right?
Yeah.
So we decided, hey, let's just do Airbnb. So we had an Airbnb manager. She came in. She managed it for us. She actually did a good job in terms of the Airbnb, but the long-term was really bad.
So you guys wanted to put like the Airbnb tenants with the really bad long-term tenants instead of
Yeah,
long-term-
because they're
They
not
won't
actually,
really interact.
yeah,
much.
they're not really
Yeah.
interacting with each other. They're not like stopping at the hallway chatting and all that stuff, right? Whereas long term, when you see the same person over and over and over, then you
Start to
like
interact a little
yeah,
more.
yeah,
They start to unionize.
Mm-hmm.
People
Exactly.
that don't. Oh, you're not paying either. What scam are you running?
yeah, exactly.
Well, let me teach you the new scam.
Yep, that's exactly what they're doing. So finally, we kept evicting everybody. So then we went down to one tenant. So for a few months, we had one tenant left.
Plus the Airbnbs.
Yeah, plus the Airbnbs. Yes, but before that one tenant, we had two tenant, and that second to last tenant, they were selling drugs.
Okay.
They and in reality, we didn't. Like, we kind of knew, but we were like, you know what, they're paying their rent, so we kind of left them alone, right? But in reality, the first person that should have gone was them because they were bringing all the
Bad element.
exactly to that property.
Fortunate.
Yeah,
The sketchiest people of
Oh.
Atlantic City.
unbelievable. I mean, you have all these, I say zombies, all these people that are like super high. They're just walking like,
Did they try to sell it to any of the Airbnb guests?
That's a
I
good
don't
question.
know. I don't know.
right. In
They
hindsight.
probably did. They probably did at some point, but we didn't hear back about that, so
That's at least a good thing.
yeah, exactly. But every time the Airbnb guests, they would talk crap about the property or the location, we were able to always get that negative review off. So we're basically left with all 5-star reviews because
So they were commenting whatever was the details of the property through the Airbnb website.
yeah, when they leave you the review, they're like,
Okay.
oh, the host was very accommodating, the apartment looks nice, but the area is shit. So as soon as they say that,
All right.
we can get that,
They didn't know they were coming to Atlantic City, right?
yeah, apparently they didn't
Did someone
know.
do a switcheroo and told them they were going to
Yeah.
the Usher concert in Las Vegas or something like that?
Airbnb lets you remove those comments?
Yes.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
like
They're very
what's
open.
the logic about that? Like, I feel like
I don't even know. We were kind of hands off, in terms of like managing it. We were paying her very good money. She was making 25%. And then after we kind of got rid of her, I started talking to other hosts because we didn't even consider anybody else.
There's the Airbnb manager. She was helping you remove.
Well, no.
The reviews.
Yes, she was doing
okay.
that. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then I find out with everybody else, they were only being paid 15%.
15.
15 and she was
Charge
making 25.
20.
Well, okay, it depends
still
how much you
25.
do, right? So everybody's got a different value. Like I know there are other, like the bigger companies, they're charging just 10%, but they're all virtual, but this guy, this 15% guy we found, he's charging 15% through another friend. And basically he's kind of like hands-on, but in the local area, so if there was some kind of emergency, he would come and actually handle it,
Oh, okay.
so that,
Like
that
a
was
property, like a property manager.
almost like a property manager, except he didn't do like the actual like physical maintenance. Like if an outlet broke or something like that, like he didn't come and fix it.
Right.
Like,
God forbid something happened to a building. He's someone nearby that you
Yeah.
can trust and rely on. That'll at least
Yeah.
drive by and see what's going on.
yeah.
Not necessarily get out the car, but maybe drive by at least.
Yeah, no, that's how my friend is. Like, she actually like even goes to her properties like at least like every couple of weeks in between guests, because like they're all local to her. She's like in the Charlotte area. But yeah, she charges like 20% for that. But she says that she even helps them set it all up, like with the furniture and everything.
Yeah, that's what she did also. She kind of like almost like designed it, and then basically, well, I gave her my Amazon password, so I was like, here, just go online, order it. You know, here's the card. You know, because I don't want a whole list and I have to order everything. You know, like decide which vendor to use for the same item. Like, you know what? Here's the card, just order it.
You've done this enough times.
Yeah, because we've got 3 apartments with her, and then we were gonna get more. You know, we were gonna open them up more, but because those apartments were small, we decided, you know what, it's not worth it. You know, especially after the 25%. So, and then here's the other thing that kind of ticked me off a little bit was so Airbnb pays us directly, right? So when you have 100%, they allow you to take 25% and pay her. So she'll get paid directly every time, you know, we get paid, right? And so the problem with that is that the cleaners, right? We pay the cleaners. However, the fee, the cleaner's fee is part of that 25%. She gets paid.
Oh, so you can't like separate that out.
Right.
If you're like the cleaners, I say $200, probably not for your apartments, but like $200, it's like 25% of $200. Just
yes, exactly. And
shit
so
adds up.
yeah, and so we were telling her that, and she was like, "No, how do you come up with a number?" And we kept showing her the number, and then she just would never like agree to it. You know, so every time
she didn't understand you had to take the money to pay out the cleaner from that 25%.
Correct.
She thought the whole 25% was hers.
Right? Yeah. So every time she would actually.
So you were
make
double
more,
paying the cleaner.
No.
How did the cleaner?
We paid the cleaners, right? So let's say, okay, the room is $100.
I get it now. Gotcha.
The room is $100, right? And let's say the cleaning fee is also $100. So now Airbnb is supposed to pay $200, right?
Okay.
Now she's gonna get 50. We're gonna get 150. But her 25 is supposed to go to the cleaners, and our 75 is supposed to go to the cleaner.
Okay.
And she just like said, "Oh, we have to pay 100 to the cleaner."
So did she like manage the cleaners, or
Yes,
you guys did?
she managed the cleaners.
Yeah.
You know?
I think this is like one of the cases, like I'm kind of comparing this to like my friend's business, because she has like her own cleaning company separate. So she like uses her own cleaners, and like she hires them and fires them, because she's like, good cleaners are too hard to find.
Yeah.
And like so she obviously like outsources to sometimes when it gets a little bit busier, but she's like, no, I want to have like full control of cleanings, because that's where all your reviews come from.
Right.
And so she kind of like accounts for that issue in what she does.
There's a lot of these cleaning companies here, especially here in Jersey. You see them all over the highways. They're all branded and wrapped.
Yeah.
They're all, you know, which ones, you know, we got to get a good review or a good recommendation.
But even so, you know, it depends on, yes, the owner might be great. They might be great in communicating, but the workers may not be good, or the opposite.
Yeah. It's what they see in the value of the job.
So you just don't know. Yeah, you just don't know until you try.
Yeah, like she used to physically like go to each cleaning that the cleaners would do and like check it.
Yeah.
And then like she would do that for the first 2-3 months of working with the cleaners, and she like FaceTime me from here.
Oh, wow.
When you are done, like, because she's very adamantly about like making
Gotta do your due diligence.
Yeah, I mean, because we used to do a lot of post cleaning after a flip or something like that, and I would just open a cabinet, right, and inside the drawer is all dust. Like, you're like, what is this?
Right.
You know, or the counter, or let's say we pay them to clean the windows, and it's still like all dirty. I'm like, come on.
Oh yeah, no, she like crawls into like, not like crawls, but like she like will like check the vents, even like the filters in the vents. She's like, if you guys don't do your shit, like when she knows they're supposed to replace it, she's like, she texts him, she's like, why was this not done?
Yeah.
Like, why was that not done? Like, she went like so crazy.
I knew a cleaner once, like if she could stick her head up the sink, she'd stick her head up the sink to clean it. This girl was amazing.
Nice.
I wish I knew where she was at today. But this is years ago. She was super OCD with cleaning.
Okay.
Yeah,
we need that. So let's move on. So you are the creative wholesale queen, right?
Oh my god.
I like where this is going. So you're
Yeah.
the construction, Airbnb, flip queen, king.
Queen. Come
We're
on,
all
man.
over the place
Listen,
today.
listen. I'm not
No
with that.
no noun, no verb, no nouns, no nouns.
I'm not with that, I'm not with that.
You're the real estate king.
I'm not that open, right?
So yeah, go ahead. No,
Yeah.
this is awesome. I like the way you presented it.
Right. So, talk about a deal that that you have some difficulty with. Well, the latest, I guess, maybe not the latest deal, but a deal that you've had some difficulty with.
Like my latest deal had 14 dogs at the property. The seller only knew about 2.
Oh shit.
That was great. Well, Jonathan walked that one.
Yeah.
But that one was fun. Sorry if you're watching this one. The seller, I think, sometimes watches this one. One of the more recent deals that had some craziness was a deal I did down in St. Petersburg, in Florida. I guess I do nationwide wholesale more, not
Right.
just in Jersey. And this one specifically, like a friend of mine, at this point, if people don't know what to do with their deals, they just send them to me. They're like, help us out, like make sense of this. Like the Louisiana thing I have going on right now, the guy who sent it to me didn't realize it had a whole bunch of equity in it. This one in St. Petersburg, it had a whole bunch of equity and everything, but there was just too much stuff going on. So this one actually closed in April. This one's a little bit an older one. And he had it under contract since last September.
Wow.
So like he just kept renewing the contract. And that guy specifically does more acquisition, and he disposed with someone, but he didn't really want to split the assignment in half to begin with. So he was like, oh, I'm just going to give it to someone who essentially jerked him around for the longest time ever with a buyer, and they kept renewing the contract, whatever. And the guy never freaking closed. And
Right. He was just kept dragging his feet.
yeah, literally, like the seller never even ended up like the seller was just like, what's going on? Actually, in this case, there were 3 sellers. One of them was a mortgage broker.
Oh.
And it was like a condo in St. Pete. I think it was a 1 bed, 1 bath. It had a whole bunch of equity. I think like the condo is worth like 130. He had it under contract for like 65 or something like that.
Wow.
Like it was in pretty good condition at the time when we did this. And he kind of just sent me this deal. He's like, can you just help me out? And I'm like, okay. I mean, like, based on these numbers, this is fine. Send me the rest of the details. Send me, like, what's wrong with it?
Yeah.
Because, like, at this point, like, this should just sell. Like, if it's worth, like, 130 and he has under contract 65, like, why did this not sell?
Yeah.
Like, you can't be,
Why?
like, I feel like you could post this anywhere on Facebook. But what ended up happening was this seller, they had a tenant who was paying really under market rent, which isn't that bad. I think market rent was like $1,200 for this unit. I think this person was paying like $800, which isn't too bad.
Which
It's
state
like,
was this?
in Florida.
Okay.
It's not bad to get rid of people, but it's like a longer term tenant who was like, even like during the showings was like trying to beg the buyers to stay. So he was like really trying to make a big thing out of it, and like everyone was worried that he wasn't gonna leave at closing. But on top of that, this is one of these things where Florida has really high HOAs.
Yeah,
and
that
special
was going to ask.
assessment.
Yeah,
Kings
I didn't want to
of
interrupt.
retirement and
So-
HOAs.
Yeah, so on this specific deal, the HOA, again, 1 bed, 1 bath, the condo's worth, let's say 120, 130, right? Like, Joe, what do you think the debt service on this would be?
At 130,
Yeah. They bought this they bought this in like 2016.
debt service meaning the mortgage, right?
Yeah, and they bought it for like 70. Or like today, like
So
let's
it'd be
say today,
120?
right? Yeah, let's say that-
120, $1,200, $1,100, somewhere around
okay,
there.
so that's already like a little bit good.
Right.
Right? But the
Yeah.
HOA, like when the market rents are 1,200, the HOA was 400, and there was
Whoa.
a special assessment for the next 9.5 years at 150.
An additional 150?
Yeah, so it was 650 just HOA plus
Wow.
special assessment.
Wow.
And like the deal had
Half the mortgage payment. That's half the pity payment.
Right. Yeah.
it's like, what the hell is going on? And like, thankfully, at least like the insurance was built into the HOA fee. But like, it was like, well, what, like, this is why your deal isn't selling, because it's
The
cash
payments
negative.
are way too high. Yeah.
Like, it's way cash negative based on like what 1,200 say it's worth. Even if you buy it at like 75, then your PITI is still like closer to like 900 or whatever
Plus that HOA fee.
Well, plus that, yeah, because you also have like the taxes that's not in that debt service, and you have that HOA of 650, and that thing was like so upside down. Like everyone's like, no, no, no. Like the HOA actually allowed for short-term rental, which is what we try to sell it at.
Yeah.
But I actually didn't realize St. Petersburg doesn't allow you to do short-term rental unless you have a hotel license. And it's actually what one of my buyers told me. He's like, I'm still gonna take this and probably midterm it, but. So I ended up finding someone from actually the Boston area who ended up flying down there. He was walking a few properties. They were just buying because they like the area. But at the end of the day, like he ended up, when he walked the property, he found like a whole bunch of mold and like water damage coming out of like one of the vents that everyone overlooked.
Behind the vent?
Yeah, so this was actually from like a storm, but
in Florida?
So it was there for
storms?
like a year, and the seller never claimed it to the insurance and put in a claim. So when we told them like, we'll put in a claim now, and they said, and the insurance was like, this has clearly been here for like at least a year. Like you guys should have claimed this to begin with. So we're not going to cover it now.
Oh.
So, and this one, like 65 or whatever he had it locked up at was literally what was left on their remaining mortgage. So at the end of this whole thing, it was going to cost like 10 grand to fix that thing.
Yeah.
And the buyer, I think, ended up buying it for 65. I don't remember, but essentially the seller brought our entire assignment fee to close, like a full 10 grand, because they were so desperate to get rid of it because the property was so upside down with the special assessment. Like they weren't making any money. They were pretty much losing money on it. Like,
on the rental.
Yeah, like they clearly didn't account for the fact that, hey, like they should have put in this claim of forever ago. But it's a little bit crazy how Florida, especially like...
That's because the insurance rates in Florida are so aggressive, for lack of better words.
Yeah, and it's actually...
They probably don't want to put a claim in there. They probably think their payment's going to double.
Yeah, that's true
They're
too.
probably scared
Plus,
No, but the insurance was part of the HOA payment. So like that's the one thing it covered, like internal condo insurance.
So it's probably like a building. So it's not that one individual if they put in a claim.
right.
Their
Yeah,
rate
so it
wouldn't
would have
go
been
up.
like everyone's
Okay,
like their
that makes
individual.
sense.
Like it's not like, so for the most part, if you guys don't know this at home, like condos pay for everything outside of your unit, like the roof. If you have a balcony, they're typically going to fix this.
Snow shoveling.
Yeah, but it's your problem, whatever's inside. So that's inside. So it was something that you had to take care of. But that insurance policy, like that homeowners, was built into the HOA. So I could see like why they could be so scared of putting in the claim, but they didn't, and it just kept getting worse because it was water damage. It was like molding in the vent.
Right.
I'm sorry, I'm like looking up at a vent because like I saw the pictures of him and we were just like actually disgusted by it, and we were like, how is the tenant like not complained about this for a year?
Yeah, that's the thing, right? A lot of tenants don't say anything sometimes, you know, or they just see it and they kind of forget, and then, you know, like, and then when it's time to pay the rent, then they remember. They're like, oh yeah, well, you didn't fix this. And
So you know they're on the people's court.
yeah.
Yeah, so I guess that's maybe one of the reasons she never tried to increase the rent or something like that. But the rent was low. There was
That's the
things that
reason
needed
why.
to be done. The HOA was stupidly high, and it's just like, even though you had pretty much 50% built-in equity on this, no one wanted to touch this deal with a 6-foot pole because it's cash negative on long term. You could make something out of it midterm. You can't do short term based on St. Pete unless you're doing it illegally, which most people don't want to do, because once you're caught, you have really high fines, and it's like your cash return is pretty much non-existent. But I mean, there are still buyers that'll take something like this, even for like depreciation write-offs too, especially this time of year.
Yes, there's some people that just have money laying around and they just don't know what to do with it, and they'll just like, oh well, it's St. Pete's, you know.
Yeah, I think honestly, like these specific guys,
right?
like
It's a
they
good
just
neighborhood,
have
right?
money.
I've never been there. St. Petersburg?
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Not so much crime.
No.
No, I mean, it's kind of like the Tampa area, right? It's close to Tampa.
Well, Tampa's up and coming.
Well, you got Tampa, and then like Clearwater, and then St. Pete's, right?
Okay.
Yeah, but St. Pete is in a different county, which is really weird.
Right.
Even though it's right there.
Yeah.
So
Clearwater's like
20
where the
minutes
millionaires are, right? Right, like high-end houses in
Yeah,
Clearwater, right?
yeah.
Okay.
And then to the I guess to the east, then you got like Sarasota, and then, you know, a couple other
More
places.
inland.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, and like this specific property, by the way, was like a community, like a gated community right on the beach. So like this specific community was on beachfront property. They had a private beach and everything, and still no one wanted to touch this deal.
So how did you end up selling it? Was it a wholesale deal? Did you wrap it?
No, this was not a wrap. This one, I I know I kind of got introduced to a creative person here, but this one specifically, I just ended up finding a buyer who, like you guys said, just had a little bit more cash laying around. They did end up using hard money,
Okay.
but they
How
were
does that
like,
make sense?
Yeah.
So the
I
guy
don't
didn't
understand
yeah,
what they did, but they closed. But I ended up
Okay.
finding someone like, I ended up finding out a little bit more about this person later. Like they just have a whole bunch of money laying
buyer.
around. Yeah, so the buyer's dad has like a whole real estate business, and the buyer's pretty young in like his like mid-20s, who's trying to like grow a portfolio to impress his dad. So is he necessarily making the best choice? Sometimes, maybe not. So I kind of lucked out on this one.
Maybe,
Yeah.
maybe it was a baby 1031.
No,
Maybe.
no.
No, I mean, first of all, you said he used hard money to buy it, right?
Yeah.
So it wasn't a like a subject to type of deal, nothing
No,
like
it
that.
was not. It was he used
Okay.
hard money to buy it, and the hard money lender actually took forever to get the money in.
Yeah.
It took like a month, which is really weird.
Wow.
Well, because I think they were just trying to justify the numbers. I think, right? Because hard
Money
the
wants to
buyer-
make sure the deal
the
works.
buyer-
and the
Yeah.
deal doesn't work.
The
out
buyer
for
or the
them.
hard money lender was taking it slow. Was
The hard money
No, I
lender.
think the hard money lender.
they
you
were
know, so-
evaluating the deal?
Yeah, because first of all, it's a very small amount, right? Usually, a lot of hard money lenders they don't like deals under 100,000. That's
Number
number
one.
one, right?
They have
So-
risk assessments.
Yeah,
And this is not risk assessments for with Hartman. It's not like a corporation. They have to run this through the actual hedge fund that they're working with, right, to get an
Well-
approval.
yes and no. So depending on who they're selling the loan to, the second level, then like first you sell it, right? You sell it to you're the originator, right? You know those terms. So you sell it to whoever's borrowing. Sell it to them. Well, you're not selling it. You're getting the giving them
Give
the
them the
loan.
mortgage, right?
Yeah, the mortgage, right?
Well,
the
the
loan.
interest only
Yeah.
mortgage.
Right. So you're giving it to them, and then once you get into like the closing process, right? Then maybe like usually with like a couple days before the actual closing, that's when the hedge fund, that's when they start actually vetting the deal
Right.
because they're gonna have their attorney, and their attorney is gonna actually look at it.
So with a conventional loan, you have the underwriter that's evaluating
Yeah.
the credit, they're evaluating the debt, they're evaluating the tax returns, anything that could go wrong, like a risk assessment, right?
Yes.
Quality control that they have,
It's the same thing.
because they're going to end up selling it to someone else. So in a hard money deal, they have to basically send the docs over to the
Yeah, so in a conventional type, right? You have to basically this loan has to conform to whatever like Fannie Mae,
Fannie, Freddie,
right?
Ginnie Mae.
Freddie, yeah, it has to conform to those, right? It has to be a certain LTV, blah blah blah, right?
Right.
And then the same thing with the hard money. It has to conform to those numbers, and then that hedge fund is gonna actually fund it,
Right.
Otherwise. These people they don't have the money most times. These are originators.
Right.
Yeah.
The hard money person that you're talking to. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because they're not the person with the actual money.
They're just the middleman.
Yeah. Pretty
Okay,
much.
gotcha.
Yeah.
They're like the Federal Reserve almost.
Honestly, in
Let them
hindsight,
print
I'm
money.
thinking about this, and I'm like, who would take out a hard money loan on 65K? Like your origination fees are gonna cost you like 20
Exactly.
at that point. Like, why are you doing this?
Did you get a check for this?
I did.
Okay, who cares?
It honestly like it was such an eye-opening experience because like I do deal zero down to the seller. Like at this point, like when I started doing this, I was like, oh my god, who's ever gonna accept this deal? And then I'm like, no, people just want to get out of their situation. But this was like such an eye-opening experience. I've never had a deal like this since, where the seller actually brings money to the closing because they're so desperate to get rid of the property. Because it's like, what if they would list it on the market, like. To live in a property like this one, it's like $1,200. 2, you got to take care of the vent thing. But also like 3, you have like another $650 in special assessment. You're almost coming up to that like $1,850 mark. So much more expensive than rent. And like even if they list it, plus the repairs someone has to do, like who's really gonna buy it?
Yeah.
So it's like it was just like they have to kind of go off market in a situation like this, and it was like just so eye opening to see like a seller is gonna willingly bring like 10 grand to close, just like.
Did you
Get it
assess
out
the
of here.
deal? Like, how much were they going to cash flow on this thing?
There is no cash.
There's no cash flow. They're losing money on this.
They're negative.
That's weird.
Unless they were just gonna turn around and relist it, but I don't think I saw this one being relisted.
It could be just a situation where
You can't force appreciate a condo like that.
Well, no,
I
I think
condos anyway.
Yeah.
I think for that person, they were just gonna live in it.
No,
They weren't.
no, he was gonna
This
do
is weird,
midterm
right?
rental on
You
it.
brought up a
Midterm
good one.
I
rental.
think like
Okay.
he was.
This is a good Columbo episode right here.
No. So because he's gonna do midterm, he's thinking he's probably gonna make some more money, right? So if you're doing just a regular monthly rental, what was a monthly like?
1,200,
1,200,
yeah.
right? So 1,200. What are your total payments, like with the assessment and everything?
Well,
Building department calling
it's
me now.
1,200 minus 650.
Let's put it on the
so-
air, brother. Let's put it on the air.
Yeah.
No, I'm scheduling a inspection.
Oh,
No
okay.
big
Not
deal.
interesting.
But yeah,
Sorry.
1,200 minus 650 in special assessment plus HOA, you're left with 550. So that means your debt service plus your taxes, because insurance is already there. Like debt service, principal, interest plus taxes has to be 550 or less just to break even.
Right.
And on hard money, that's
good.
not happening.
Yeah.
going
So
on?
the
Yeah, like,
what,
this
what
is
is the
Sherlock
total?
Holmes.
Sorry, what was the total monthly payment?
What do you mean? Like the HOA plus special assessment?
Yeah, yeah.
The
and all
whole
that.
pity.
400 plus 150, so 5.
That's the HOA.
No, it came out to 650. Then it was 500.
So
plus
so
150.
no. What I'm saying is the mortgage or the hard money, right? The hard money, HOA, insurance.
So Joe, why don't you tell us this?
I mean taxes.
Oh,
sorry.
man. Putting me on
This
the
was in
spot.
April. They closed this in April. This was a hard money loan. I swear to you on my life. I think this was a long-term hard money loan. But
A long-term
what are we
hard
looking
money?
at for the PITI on this?
Sorry guys, let me
Tell
take
you
this.
right now. Let's look it up. So, how much was what did you end up selling it for?
65,000.
65,000. What? I don't know. When was this?
April.
April.
Mid-April. It closed.
Let's
So they would have secured the rate
say
in mid-March.
for makeup purposes, let's say it was at 6% interest on that hard money,
Oh,
right?
come on. It was at least 7.5.
7. Let's say 7.
No, it was at least 7.5.
7.5. All right. So let's say 8. Let's say 8. Let's say 8.
Let's say 20
Homeowners insurance.
down. Non-applicable.
Okay. And so the taxes were separate, right?
Yeah, but they weren't too high. I think.
How much were they a
like,
year? Do you remember?
like 1,200 or 2,000. It wasn't too high.
So let's say 1,500.
Yeah,
Let's go in the middle, and
go
then
with that.
the HOA was 600.
650. I thought it was 400 plus 150, but I remember the special assessment came out to 653, so 650.
650, no down payment.
No, there would be a DP because they would put like 20% or 10% down. It was hard money.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
6,500 plus $1 million origination fees.
10% down. Let's say, yeah, okay. Well, actually, it'd probably be more than that. It'd probably be more in the 20% range. I think they'd have to put at least 20% down.
On hard money, you could do 10. But let's see.
About
what are
five. It says 527. Yearly
Five-
taxes 1,500. HOA 600.
650.
65,000, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 30 year. About
Their monthly
520,
payment.
527.
But how's their no. Their HOA is $650 a month.
Is this the yearly?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So
Sorry.
let's just
Thank
see what
you.
it comes out to before
Look at
the
how this
HOA.
calculator did it.
Yeah, so you're probably what, like 1,300, 1,400 a month?
No, you're definitely more than that.
More than
Tell you
that?
right now.
Okay. So you're losing a couple $100s a month, right?
Yeah.
So in other words, if you're
I was
losing a
right.
couple $100s a month,
1,100.
how much?
I did-
1,100
I guessed
with the
it originally.
HOA.
1123 with the HOA. I guess
With the
11.
HOA, it comes out to 1123 when long-term rentals is 1,200 a month on it.
Yeah. Okay. So you're kind of breaking even at that point, right? Plus you got to pay utilities. So you're going to end up losing,
CapEx.
right? Okay. Yes, CapEx.
If it's an investment property.
Let's not even talk about CapEx, right? Then you have the income from, let's say, midterm rental, right? How much can a midterm rental on a single bedroom get you? Like 2,500, 3,000 a
Definitely
month?
not 3. I think it'll be more like 2,000.
Okay, 2,000. So you could kind of like break even or make a few $100s.
So
on it.
he was probably cash flow positive then.
Yeah, if you're able to successfully get a midterm renter in there. because of the location.
But also, if you ever have to sell it, that special assessment is on it for 9.5 years.
So you
And
hold
HOA
it.
is going to keep going up. Yeah, you basically have to hold.
You have to hold it like as long as possible.
Yeah.
You said the special assessment, they were adding more on top of the already, the set HOA was already.
So sometimes what condo associations do is like they want to keep the HOA as low as possible. So if they're doing like a big project, like redoing everyone's roofs or balconies, they're going to tack on a special assessment, which is a temporary thing because the HOA is going to go get a loan
Okay, you
instead
said
of
that.
using the HOA fund. The HOA collects HOA for an HOA fund for stuff like
That was the additional
painting.
150
Yeah.
you mentioned.
So
Okay,
what they end
gotcha.
up doing is they end up getting a loan for this with interest, so it could not drain that HOA fund in case something happens, but also keep people's payments a little bit lower on the HOA side because this is a temporary payment. 9.5 years is not very temporary, but it's still not going forward. Like a lot of these are only a couple of years versus 9.5. They're usually like 1, 2, 3. Because like that, for the most part, you can get it returned.
But it worked out.
It worked out
You got
somehow.
it closed. That's unfortunate. That's just the
Hey,
name
as
of the
long as
game.
you get your check,
Yep.
That was
You
it,
did.
but like that was just like so weird. Like a seller just being this desperate and motivated. Like when you're doing wholesale, like you're supposed to target motivated sellers, and like motivated is like when the sellers are like bringing cash to close or like 0 down or something. Like, this happens because what else are they gonna do? Honestly,
I mean, believe me, I've been in that shoes. So when I sold my store back in 2011, I was that motivated like seller, you know. So I literally gave my store away for 0. You know, we bought a property.
And it's now being turned into a dispensary.
really?
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
You talking about the 1 in 9, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember I told you it's turning into a dispensary.
Oh, is it dispensary?
I think it's like the first woman-owned dispensary or something like that. Something to that effect.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
I
I
drove
had
by
no
it
idea what
recently.
was going on
Yeah.
because I saw the last time I drove by, I just saw the whole thing bulldozed. I was like, holy crap! What the heck?
Oh yeah,
happened?
they had it. Also, they've knocked it down since I saw it last.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they had a sign up. It said dispensary coming soon or something
Oh,
to
really?
that effect.
Is
Yeah.
that what it is? Okay. Yeah, because so the story is like basically, well, you know, I purchased the property, right? We paid about $850 for it. Got a mortgage. We put a good amount of money down, like I don't know, like 20 or 30% down on it. And basically, you know, we started up the business, right? And then basically we had like not enough business coming in. And I had put every dollar, every cent that I had.
Sounds
then-
like when I bought my store.
Yeah. And then I
Rented,
borrowed,
sorry.
and to keep it running, I had to borrow money to keep it running. You know, so I was fortunate at that time I was able to borrow some money, you know, because I was doing pretty okay at that time.
With your construction business.
Yeah, with my construction business, you know, my construction business partner, he was part of it, and then my other business partner, which was not, you know, like my regular partner, he came in, he put some money in too, and what happened is we ended up selling to his older brother and sister. Well, I begged them to basically take over because I had no more money left, and
This is the lumber yard.
yeah, this is the lumberyard. So had I kept going any further, I would have basically just had to declare bankruptcy, have my personal house foreclosed on. You know, I was so deep in shit debt, it was unbelievable. You
A
know,
river with no paddle.
yeah, basically, you know, and we were working like crazy. We got there every morning at 7 a.m., didn't get home till midnight. Me and my wife both, you know, so we were working.
Is this the saying, the cliche where don't get into a business if it's just going to become a job?
So we had a lot of friends that basically did this business. Well, not friends, like we weren't that close.
You knew people.
But we knew people, we talked to them, so we kind of started doing our research, and they did very well. They did very well, and like they're still in business now, you know. But because they had a better location,
That's what I was going to say.
and well, we thought we had a really good location too. It was right on the highway, but they were out in Flushing, New York. That was the thing, and
You can't compete.
You can't-
It's,
yeah.
it's New York City. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Doesn't matter.
you can't compete. So and then I got a lot of contacts through them, like other vendors and stuff like that, and they gave us credit, for a lot of the things we were trying to do. So that we were able to, like build up very quickly, but not quickly enough. That was the issue. And then we went through the winter of 2010-11, basically, and that was super, super slow. So we had like almost no sales that winter.
What year was this?
2000, like winter of 2010 going into 2011.
So we were still in the recession, right?
Yeah, we were just kind of slowly breaking out.
Right.
Yeah. So, after doing that, like we set up a showroom. We had like a 2,000 square foot kitchen cabinet showroom, way bigger than this place, and we had tons of inventory. We had like lumber outside.
Oh, like you kept inventory on site. So
Yeah, you had to.
and everything.
Right. You had to.
Because you were competing with Home Depot.
Yeah.
The big guys. You
Yep.
need to keep this stuff in stock.
Yeah. And then nobody was coming because we didn't really advertise, so nobody knew who we were.
Well, there was no social media back then.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
that.
It wasn't, social media wasn't that strong. I was like on Facebook, but it was like just, I was playing games on Facebook,
Farmland or something.
Yeah.
Farmville?
Well, not really Farmville, but.
You're also on a one, what everyone makes fun of Jersey. You're on that one-sided location where you had to drive down a mile
Yeah. To make a U-turn.
to make a U-turn. Yeah.
If you missed it. Yeah. So, I mean, it is what it is, but it makes you stronger, when you're like, so I can understand the sellers, right? Because I was in those shoes at that time, like that desperation.
I just
like,
want to get out.
You
Holy
just want
crap.
to get out. Yeah.
Yeah. I just needed to get out, it's like just, but the biggest thing was really like the partner, like my business partner's wife. That was the big thing. Like we just had like a lot of internal disputes, and it was just like, let me get the hell away from her,
Your own mental sanity.
Yeah, exactly.
You didn't like try to be like, hey, like stay out of the business, or like she was part of the business, or
Well, it's kind of like my wife and I, we were both involved, so my business partner, he and his wife was involved. The only smart one was our other partner, who his brother and sister took over. He didn't have his wife involved at all. She was just like a stay-at-home mom, and she just like, I don't know shit about this, so let me stay away. She was smart, and so that was the thing. Like the partner, she wanted to be involved, and she had never worked a day in her life.
oh, great.
Yeah,
It's a
so
great
she
start to the
wanted
whole
to be
thing.
like the CEO. And
She didn't know anything about the business.
yeah, she
about
didn't know
business
anything
in
about lumber, anything, right? So I'm like,
That's when we were in retail, we would like the management. Sometimes, the company I used to work for, there's one particular cell phone company. They would just hire freshly recruited college kids. They never worked a day in retail in their life, and I think just because they,
Have,
they
like, a
graduated
business
with a
degree or
business
something?
degree that they knew how to manage a store.
right.
It was never the case. Never worked out for them. For this one guy, but he was different. He's a different animal, but it never worked out. You have to be in it, the grunt. You have to know how to talk to clients.
Yeah.
Whatever they tell you a screw, I'm sure you know exactly what aisle to go to. You know
Yeah.
exactly what they were looking for.
I knew. I knew, because I set up all the vendors. I was there. So me and my wife, we were there for like freaking 14, 15 hours a day.
Right.
We were on the
In and out.
computer setting up all the inventory because we had QuickBooks, right? It was called QuickBooks Point of Sale. And you had to set everything up. They don't give you like where you scan the barcode, right? Nothing appears. So
You have
there's
to
no
input the
database. You have
barcode.
to,
You have to create your database.
exactly. You got to create your own
It's
database.
like Linksys back in the days, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we had to basically we physically ordered everything, and then we had to grab the actual box, scan it, right? Scan it,
into the
and then
system.
it'll the UPC will appear, and then you have to put the description,
Tag
and
it.
then you take a photo of the thing, upload the photo. So whenever you're purchasing, you scan it, that thing appears.
So why didn't you get the person that didn't know much about the business to take care of the mediocre stuff?
Because she didn't speak English.
Oh, she didn't speak.
She didn't speak English. She didn't read and write English.
So why would you trying to manage the store?
That's what I'm saying. Like, what
this
is
is
there
getting
to?
worse.
And there was no business to manage. So I'm like, what the hell are you trying to manage?
Right.
You know, and I ended up I got my brother's help to come in. I had one of my good buddy. He came in to help. You know, so I got everybody I knew to come in and help, and we kind of like we had 3 or 4 computers, so we're kind of like rotating. You know, because like that's like you're doing this all day, like it wears you out.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and we had thousands of items.
Right.
It wasn't like, okay, you could finish in a day or two. No, it's like a month-long thing. And then and we're constantly adding new stuff too, you know? So,
Yeah, again, going back to retail, like when we used to, at the other companies that I used to work for, the last one I worked with was T-Mobile. So AT&T, Verizon, like we would just shut the whole store down to count the inventory. And it'd be 5 or 6 of us scanning each SKU and counting for everything.
Yeah.
At T-Mobile, they said in their infinite wisdom, they left it to just the store manager was the only one that could do the inventory.
wow.
So I'd be there all night after the store closed. You couldn't
Yeah.
do it during store hours, scanning everything and double checking and trying to find stuff that's missing up on my report.
Did
So
they
I
give
can
you like good overtime? Or like you're a manager? So
salary.
no?
No.
Yes and no.
Why do you think they left it to me? That's why they were cutting off the costs.
Right.
Yeah. But no, so I could definitely understand where you were coming from. I feel your pain.
But it's over, you know? So,
But that's kind of like those sellers too. It's like they just want us to be done. Like
Yeah.
these guys, like with the moldy ass vent, like the HOA plus special assessment. Like that's also like why, like especially when you're dealing with condos, like HOAs can always go up. Like if you underwrite your deal
Yeah,
today
that's the
at
scary
like
part.
$400 a month,
right.
like that's already really high for a 1-bed 1-bath condo.
It
That's
is.
like $120. But like, let's say you underwrite it 400, and the HOA like decides to just redo everyone's balconies tomorrow. Like your HOA is going up.
Yep.
Like that's why, like, I don't know. I don't look at condos. I try not to deal with them. I tend to filter them out of my list just because like I don't even want to do that. Like I remember actually the guy like whose property we just closed on, like he was talking to me, asking me for some advice on a condo property he was looking to buy, and I'm like, honestly, like, dude, why do you even want a condo?
Yeah.
Like-
I've never, as far as investment, I've never done a condo.
Because like you don't own the land,
Yeah.
you just own
The 4
structure.
walls.
Yeah, you own the 4 walls.
Well, on the lender side, because we do, lend to people that want to buy
Yeah.
condos, the benefit to the condo, unlike renting, even if you break even, whatever you put in, you get back, right?
But
as
that's-
long as the condo stays in shape and the other units within the building,
Yeah.
are pretty much the same.
the same.
And the
They're not
HOA maintains
depleting. Yeah,
everything.
the condo association keeps up the upkeep of the building. In most cases, whatever you put in, you're gonna get out.
That's kind of true.
Yeah.
That's kind of true.
But that's
It's
kinda
a little better than renting.
Yeah,
But that's kind of the other thing. It's like you don't own the land, but like it doesn't really appreciate because the HOA takes such a big chunk, especially up here in North Jersey. Like you go to Fort Lee, their HOAs start at like $1,000 a month.
Really?
Yeah,
Holy
I've
crap.
seen
I've
like
never looked into
2,100.
Oh,
You
yeah.
should like look into it seriously. Like just
Wow.
pull them up right now. Like you'll see it's like 1,200, 1,500. Like someone was selling. I remember I was talking to a seller. Just like one of my VAs found a FISBO, and it was like, oh, low HOA in Fort Lee was like $600 a month. I'm like, that's low. Okay, for Fort Lee, that's low, but like for a normal person, it's not
Yeah,
low.
that is high.
But like, if tomorrow the HOA decides that the HOA is going to go up and costs tend to go up, like not only are your taxes and insurance going up, you have the whole HOA going up. Like it could change next year. Like they could put on a special assessment, and they do this all the time.
Right.
I think even like the Edgewater Commons, like the ones by Target, I think they have a special assessment tax on this. Those HOAs are like $2,000 a month, like 2.3.
those are 1.6 million dollar condos over there.
No, not all. They're actually all like 500,000 because the
That
condos
white
don't
one
really
is
appreciate-
down the block. There's that white one that looks like it belongs in Miami.
I'm talking about the like the brick colored ones, but not the brick ones.
Okay, the older style ones.
Yeah.
Okay, okay.
Like the nice ones. Because like
This is what you call boots on the ground when we know we could describe it and we know what we're talking about.
yeah, but it's
I
like
have no clue. I have no clue what you guys talking.
but it's like because like the payments on it just make no sense. Like the property
It
values
does
don't
for
really
New
go
Yorkers when they're paying $5,500 for a 500 square studio, $5,000. Makes sense to them.
Okay, but those guys are also co-ops. It's like a whole different thing. Like I could go on like a very long rant about this, but like, yeah, it's like your value. Like, I'm seeing some of these guys bought their condos like what's 2023 right now. Like, they bought it in 2012. It only appreciated like 20-30 grand.
Yeah.
Oof.
In Jersey.
That's
Really bad because
It's
like
usually like 1%, and it hasn't the Biden appreciation that I always mention doesn't normally attach to condos.
because like then you have the HOAs that just keep going up, 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 up. So like it's like an investment property. Like I get so confused when people buy it. I mean, nothing against you guys if you buy it. Like it's just like it's really weird.
Yeah, the drawback is that the HOA is risk assessed by the property management, right, or whoever controls the HOA.
People, yeah.
Where if you own a home, it's what is it? Every 10 years, they come out
every 10
knocking on your
years,
doors, right? In Jersey, right? It can vary from state to state. So you have that period of time where okay, my taxes are going to pretty much stay relative where they are. They won't fluctuate like they would in a condo.
I think the HOA fees could fluctuate more. Like even my mom, I think when she moved into her condo, I think she mentioned it was like 150, 2016. It's like close to like 300 something. I think it's like 350 right now. The HOA.
It's still not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. But she lives in Sussex County. She lives in like you have to drive through a farm to get there.
Okay.
Like, it's in the middle of nowhere. It's not Fort Lee at like $2,000 a month.
Right. That's true. Yeah.
But that's the life of buying in this market.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, hopefully, rates are gonna slowly start dropping soon.
Slowly.
I mean, it has already, right?
So I'm glad you mentioned this. Like, it burns my my blood or boils my blood, right? Mm-hmm. When you see like recently, you're probably seeing, rates are down. They're trickling down.
Yeah, slow.
It's a very, very. The banks, they're assessing the market. They're not just going to start dropping rates by 0.25%, 0.5%, because the bond market is finally starting to drop a bit, right? Mm-hmm. Which then lowers interest rates. So again, they're trickling down. Reach out if you're in the market to buy something. Reach out to a loan officer. Let them run your credit. Let them give you a scenario. Don't go by the news. The news is just they're there to sell advertisement at the end of the day.
Yeah. Right.
That's what they're in the business of doing. They're in the business of selling advertisement and then relating some news events while they're selling ads. That's just the name of the business. So yeah, reach out to someone, get a true scenario of where the market is right now.
Well, why don't we reach out to you? So how do they get
your
info?
Yeah, you could reach me at 212-380-6863. That's my direct hotline.
Awesome.
And Joe does mortgages on all social media.
And Vlada, how do they reach out to you?
Instagram's probably the best way. Vlada.a.kopidiva, mainly because I don't actually remember what my hotline number is. I keep giving my old numbers to my VAs.
And I'm Joey Chan, of course. Joey Chan, REI, on most social media. And I don't give my phone number out, except to clients. So, yeah, Joey Chan, REI, on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever, right? Reach out if you need some construction services, if you need kitchen cabinets, countertops, we can help you. And if you just need some general advice on real estate as well.
If you have a deal that maybe your neighbor's house has been listed for a few months, reach out to Vlad, reach out to us. Maybe there's something that we can work out with you. There's plenty of deals still to be had out there.
Absolutely. Yeah, if you guys have a deal that just makes no sense, even though it should kind of make some
Especially
sense.
the boarded up houses, there's still enough of them out, especially out here in Jersey.
Yeah. In Trenton.
In Trenton.
The first deal I ever did was in Trenton, so it was one of those.
Rough. So I haven't done any deals in Trenton.
Good.